So Maersk is a very large global company and a customer of ours, and not too different than what we were talking about before. They have a lot of obviously control and operating systems, and they've got a lot of people that are obviously out in the field, and so they were looking at a way that at anybody that's kind of touching that logistics cycle, if they saw something that was not working right or damaged or something like that, like what would be the quickest way that we could get that back to the right people so that we could plan that maintenance, or when that ship comes back on the port, we know exactly which container needs to be addressed and so on. So started out there with the Power App, created a very easy way for really anybody in their ecosystem to quickly be able to raise service requests and then downstream that into people taking right action. We've evolved that into really what we call kind of an all-up Power Platform strategy with them, and we've got what we call an app factory model. So it allows them to really have the business to be able to continue to kind of come to them with business use cases, or business cases rather, and then we can quickly turn those into use cases, do quick validation, and either it becomes an app, or the business value is not high enough, and then they move on to the next one. So it creates this really agile process that allows them to transform how they modernize through the Power Platform.
That's phenomenal. You remember the old days, right? When spinning up an app or whatnot, was really a big project. And so somebody would come in with an idea, maybe they got the eye roll, maybe it got stuck in a back room, but it didn't happen. And so the way you all are doing this, people can jump on those ideas. They can be more innovative.
Well, that's it. You've got to have a quick way to basically take an idea, validate the business case, validate the functional capability. Is what we're thinking it going to work that well, and is it going to have the impact to our people, and be able to do that in a very finite point in time, because otherwise then it loses the value of making that decision and being able to kind of validate in a much more iterative type of process.
Right. We'll talk about moving faster. I think here's another study you were going to share.
So again, I think this is a good example where you look at things within the business that are not huge heavy lift items, and it's kind of surprised, like, why is this not being done by our core control systems? But at the same time, maybe it's the amount of steps we have to take, the processes we have to go through to do simple things like purchase good receipts, and so when you take some of these kind of larger work processes that we all deal with, and some of these large systems that we deal with, there's simple things like this where Power Apps and the Power Platform can really help us greatly improve our accuracy and drive down cost and drive up accountability on expenditures on operating assets and empowering our resources in the field.
Very cool. Very cool. Let's not stop there. I think you have some more examples for us.
So these are just kind of different, I think, ways to kind of look at how you can approach the Power Platform and some interesting use cases. So on the left here, timesheets, here's a customer that has 3 different time and attendance systems because of 3 different lines of business, and they work very distinctively. But at the end of the day, the workers don't care. You've got people in the field that are working on multiple jobs, working multiple lines of business, and the most difficult thing is to get people to put time in on time. So how do you streamline that process? How do you make it very specific to the user? And how do you make as little steps as possible? And so that's really what we were creating here. So we weren't replacing their time and attendance systems that were critical to their business, but we were modernizing and creating efficiency around how that time was captured and capturing that time almost near real time as it was happening. So it drastically improved their day sales outstanding ability to collect cash. It improved the accuracy as it relates to the time entry to actually what was billable versus non-billable. And it had all these downstream effects. And so what's cool about a project like that is you can start with a very simple use case. And then when you look at it from kind of the outcomes that we're trying to accomplish, and you look at the Power Platform, it really allows you to start looking at things like Power Automate to see how, okay, now we've got this time entry. We streamline the capture side, and now we need to streamline the integration side into these other systems. So there's just so many different ways you can deal with that. That's awesome.
You said you mentioned Holy Grail earlier, right?
Yeah.
Faster cash, that's the Holy Grail.
Yeah. I'm going to jump to the right side here. All of our, whether it's oil and gas, utility, or manufacturing, we all deal with inspections. And so in most companies still today, it's very form-driven, automated. And what we found is the fact that you know, a lot of stuff that we're doing is more about when things happen that we can go back and look at exactly what was the point in time that we had a conditional change, or how we kind of change how we're doing maintenance on those assets and so on. But what we're really finding with, you know, by automating more of the inspection process and being able to leverage that data, that we're improving the ability of how these companies are managing their assets and getting better asset life cycle, more predictability as it relates to catastrophic events, and really flexibility as it relates to dealing with new inspections that may come up as environments change and as new requirements change.